Mr. Speaker, President-elect Sanders, Vice President Kardashian, honorable members of the Judiciary, Finance, Ways and Means, $5 footlong, and #selfie committees, Senators Ernst and Judge, Representatives Loebsack, Young, and the Honorable Ass Clown Douchebag Steve King. Gentlemen of the selected press corps, Mr. Merv Griffin, Telly Savalas, Emmanuel Lewis, TV's Mr. Belvedere, Ms. Bonnie McBurney, and selected members of the LGBTQ LMNOP community. We welcome Madam First Ladies Lady Bird Johnson, Mrs. Howard Taft, the esteemed Moms Mabley, fellow Olympians, Ms. Flojo, Jackie Joyner-Kersey, and Ms. Nadia Comaneci, Misters Walter Mitty and J. Alfred Prufrock, Lady Elaine, Mr. Snuffleupagus, Misters Biff and Happy Loman, Evelyn Waugh, and Superintendent Nancy Sebring. Distinguished guests in the gallery tonight, our ambassadors, the Honorable Madam Caitlyn Jenner, the Right Honorable Hamburglar and Grimace, Senior Frito Bandito, Mr. Jack Benny, and their excellencies Stabler, Munch, Cannon, and Colombo. And lastly, warmest of greetings are extended to His Holiness, Pope Scott Sittker. I thank the networks for providing us this uninterrupted airtime. ABC, CBS, NBC, PBS, Fox, the WB, UPN, Dish Networks, music channels 200 through 476, and all of the other major Comcast Trump networks. As a side note, I wish to thank our dear leader for his generosity, Hail Trump. To him in particular, I thank the alleged Arts and Entertainment Channel and the so-called History Channel for temporarily postponing their broadcasts tonight of their overproduced and heavily marketed reality television shows, which promote predatory lending, conspicuous consumption, materialism, and all the worst kinds of superficiality as represented by the plastic faces of the real housewives of this country, the great silent majority. And lastly, my fellow Americans, I come to you this very evening to discuss a serious matter of the utmost national importance. But first, to our Spanish-speaking neighbors at home and abroad, I say, hola, bienvenidos y donde está la biblioteca y el baño. Y los más importante, lo siento, mi no votado, señor Trump, él es el diablo. Ladies and gentlemen, I come before you, the American people, today to discuss a very serious matter of national importance. The information contained within this envelope is so extremely sensitive, so deeply classified, so top secret, that not even former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's private email server could predict the shocking revelations contained herein. 67 years ago tonight, on a roadhead farm on the outskirts of Roswell, New Mexico, a disturbance was reported by local ranchers. The disturbance was described in some news media as what appeared to be the crash landing of an unidentified flying object, colloquially known as a flying saucer. United States Air Force Strategic Command, at the time led by General Car Insurance, in cooperation with the National Security Agency, Joint Chiefs of Staff, and the Lay's Potato Chip Corporation, directed former President Truman to issue a 24601 directive permitting civil commanders, in collaboration with the Boy Scouts of America and local Kiwanis leagues, to cover up and obstruct the actual happenings that night. The consensus was that using the explanation of a crashed weather balloon would provide sufficient cover to explain the Martian erection and subsequent sharding. Flash forward The Senate Judiciary Committee hearing investigating the Watergate break-in, meeting in this very chamber, was notified by White House counsel Ben Matlock of an 18.5-minute gap, an erasure in the subpoenaed tapes, the secretly made audio recordings now known as the Nixon tapes. 1 month later, President Nixon resigns from office. The 18.5-minute gap was previously found to be unrecoverable. However, more recently, the complete audio in its entirety has been recovered by skilled forensic audiologists. The now recovered erasure reveals an inebriated and cantankerous President Nixon, depressed, taking copious amounts of pills, reeling from his unpopularity and domestic insurrection, ordering his Secretary of State, Henry Kissinger, to declassify and release to the public the true extent of the Roswell incident, in hopes that such revelation will end the war in Vietnam and promote peace and cooperation with the Martians. What follows is a partial line-by-line transcript of that now recovered 18.5-minute gap. President Nixon. No, God damn it, screw him. Hell, screw him. He wasn't with us in 1960, was he? Hell, he can have the whole goddamn Southern Republican League if he wants. What's that, Henry? Kissinger says, Mr. President, perhaps you could, for the sake of the country. Nixon. No, goddamn him! The whole thing is going to blow wide open. Those cocksuckers are going to know all about those little witches. I'll expose this whole thing before I resign from this office. And Concrite, hell, he's so far left. Kissinger. Sir, Soviet ambassador. Nixon. De Brennan? Soviets on the line. You know, Kennedy screwed anything in a skirt, my God. But let me say this about that. This whole country will turn if those little Martian cocksuckers are made public. Now, damn it, Henry, I mean it. Kissinger. Mr. President, the Soviet ambassador is asking about Nixon. Screw him! I mean it. I will expose Roswell, the Kennedy thing, the Easter Bunny, the whole shebang. Then she'll really get her tit caught in the ringer. Kissinger. She. Nixon. What? Nixon. She. Who is the she who... Nixon. Who is the she who... What? Kissinger. Who is going to get their caught in the ringer? Who is that happening to? Nixon. What? No, Henry, no, now. You know they killed Kennedy, don't you? Oh, yes, my God. Those little green Martians that... God damn it. Christ. I just pissed myself. God damn it, Henry. Shit. Give me your handkerchief. As you just heard in the transcript I read, President Nixon not only refers to the existence of Martians, but also the death of former President Kennedy. Now, for years, Frank Sinatra and Wilford Brimley were thought to be the real culprits behind the killing. However, justice may finally be served. Now, flashback to November 22nd, 1963. Stationed outside the Dallas School Book Depository are Dorothy Zbornak, Betty Rottencroft, Fox News' Ann Coulter, and Alexander Hamilton.